recording. It's like, hi, this is a recording. And
You ain't say that you had beef with Blue Cheese?
Welcome back to Beef with Blue Cheese. Is that how we start? Okay, it's so
Welcome back.
it's so anticlimactic.
Yeah, it's really it's a poor intro.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, this is Aesop Rock Labor Days, which is a thrilling album for me to go over.
Yeah,
I mean, they'd all be
quite an exciting listen for anybody.
Well, I don't know about anybody,
especially if you've never heard it
yeah,
before.
but here's the thing, though. I mean,
I'm gonna go on the limb and say anybody.
Okay, but do you remember like when we first heard Aesop Rock? We weren't into it. Like it was like weird. We don't, I wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, music for Earthworms and Float. I thought with the exception of maybe like 2 songs, it was terrible.
Yeah,
I mean, he just didn't rap on beat. Just wasn't anything.
Have you gone back and listened to him? Have you gone back and listened to him now?
Yeah, I think I can tolerate Float. Music for Earthworms, there's a couple.
Yeah.
But it's just really, really weird. I mean, some of the Blockhead stuff is tough to really kind of get into.
Yeah, I like Appleseed. I like a lot, which is like not even like it's hard to find even now. But I like it all. I gone back like I didn't like it at first, and I gone back. I like all that stuff. Not as much, but I like it.
Yeah. I remember, I guess it was Eddie Etta that was like, "Oh, all these kids like it because it's weird and it's white."
That
always stuck.
That's funny because I was going to bring that up too. I was going to say,
stuck
like when we first heard them, you were talking to him about. He's like, "What's up with this Aesop Rock? Everyone seems to love this guy." And he was like, "It's because he's weird and he's white." And I was like, I guess that probably makes sense. Yeah. I didn't get it. Didn't register with me.
No.
I think we were kind of looking into it because we knew we were going to see Atmosphere, and I think we knew he was opening up for them. So I don't know if that's exactly accurate, but that was the.
What was the Labor Days came out the same year as Lucy
Right.
Ford. This actually did come out like 6 days after.
I know. I saw that.
Like we were talking about that with the Lucy Ford album. Like maybe this is what we were thinking about.
Right, but I see. What's funny is the timing of that. I can't seem to get right because I could have sworn we were at the record release show for Labor Days because Atmosphere opened up for them. That's why we went. We still weren't sold on Aesop Rock. I don't think we had heard this album yet. So we went to go see Atmosphere because he was performing in the city, and I guess he was doing Aesop Rock a favor by opening for him. And I think that was the record release show for this album.
Yeah, it's very possible, but it's also very possible that it was like a week before.
Yeah.
Because there's no way it was right after.
No.
I mean, there's no way because it was shut down for months. I mean, you weren't able to go anywhere near the Knitting Factory.
Right. That's
what
I was trying to remember. So it might have been, it might have been like even that weekend before 9/11. Like I don't remember.
It's very possible.
Yeah, I think it's very possible that because you bought the CD that night, but it was just at the merch table. So
and the shirt. Too.
Yeah,
and that was the only spot you were able to get the shirt back then. Was at the show. So obviously we were there.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Otherwise, it would have been postponed. Maybe it was months later, but
sure.
Yeah, the timeline of that is fuzzy for me, but so my recollection, I think we've talked about it. I don't know if we've talked about it on the podcast, but my recollection was like we went to the show, we left early because we had seen Atmosphere, and that was what we went for. I think we heard a couple songs from Aesop Rock, and we were like, let's get out of here. Let's get and then you bought the CD just for like on the way out. We listened to it, and then you were like, "This is pretty good." And the next day, it wasn't texting because it was you talked the next day, and you're like, "This album's pretty good." So then we listened to it, and that was it. I was sold from that point on.
Yeah, and I think really what did it is because I listened to the first song, and I'm like, "Wow, this is different than the rest of his stuff."
Right.
Because we obviously knew of him.
Yeah.
But we didn't really take like a deep dive into some of his like earlier recordings.
Yeah.
Other than just what we heard from Float, because music for Earthworms I don't think was necessarily like readily available.
No.
I think it was just some type of like a a one-off like burnt CD that it would hand out.
Well, Appleseed definitely was. Appleseed, if you look up Appleseed on Wikipedia, it's like it was really only on CDR. Like I downloaded it illegally at some point. I never had a copy. I have it, but I don't have a physical copy of that. But yeah, 'cause I didn't really realize that he did so much of the production on this album. I thought.
I think Blockhead and him kind of split it. It was. I would say.
It seems like but I guess early on music for Earthworms, I didn't look at the track list, but I'm assuming Blockhead did more of the production on that than so. But what's funny is that it all fits together. It kind of sounds like Blockhead. The whole thing kind of sounds like Blockhead. So, I'm making up a story in my head that like kind of Blockhead kind of like showed him the way of how to produce. Like that's the story I tell myself because it all sounds kind of the same. And then, he kind of grew past that. And I still like Blockhead. I like some of Blockhead's solo instrumental albums.
Sure, yeah. I mean, some of my favorite tracks on the album are his. I didn't think so until I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't realize these were Blockhead beats. He kind of changed this as a producer as well. And, I mean, a couple things. I thought I knew so much about the dude, and I knew, like, nothing, really. I had no clue he had, like, geniuses for brothers. Like, did you know
Aesop Rock?
His one brother is some Harvard law professor.
Is that right?
Yeah, and his other brother works at NYU doing something, or something like that. Works in New York City. Just another really smart dude. And then Aesop went to Boston University, which is like one of the hardest schools to get into. That's where he met. And for anything really.
Yeah, but he went. I guess he was an art major, right? Or like a.
Yeah, and that's where he met Blockhead, and I guess that's when they started making music. Was when he was there. Yeah. So.
That's funny. All I know about Aesop's brother is that one of them used to play a Little League, and and the other one was a fan of industrial rock music. Right.
Now I'm drawing a blank on the band.
Yeah, if I sing it,
I can sing the lyrics, but I forget the name of the band.
What was the band that he wrote? Yeah. It doesn't matter. That's literally one of my favorite. That whole verse is one of my favorite Aesop.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it matters because it's bothering me. Other than that, it doesn't matter.
Ministry live at the Ritz.
Live at the Ritz. Yeah, there it is.
One of them is a Ministry fan, and the other one was played Little League, and there was a gopher involved.
Killing.
Yeah, that's funny. I didn't know. So funny I love seeing pictures of Aesop. Sometimes you'll post a picture of him when he was a kid. And he just looks like a kid that we would have hung out with. Just some, whatever, And I'm like,
well, he went to Northport High School, so it was very possible
right.
That we,
but I look at
that we would have hung out.
I look at pictures of him. He's got big glasses on. And he's just like, I'm like, who would have thought? Like, this is my favorite rapper. This picture of this kid right here it will one day be my favorite rapper. It does not look like that.
Yeah. And not only that, he would completely change like what you think of rappers just from an intelligence level.
Yeah.
Like this dude is just he's already recognized as like lyrically one of the most robust vocabularies.
Yeah, yes and no. Like he changed what I thought was possible rap, but not like I don't expect anybody else like for me to reach his level of like what I like. There's other people that kind of do stuff that's similar, but just to me, nobody comes close. And my personal taste, Yeah,
I mean, and if anybody listens that doesn't really know who he is or what his rhymes are all about, he basically raps in symbols, wrapped in metaphors.
Yeah.
It's just you have to there has to be some work done to really understand what he's trying to say. There's a couple songs that are kind of right in front of your face.
Right, no regrets is pretty obvious, isn't it? He doesn't do a lot of story raps, but like when he does, it's he does them well.
Yeah, and the whole albums are stories. I think that's kind of how he does his stuff. Like Labor Days, it's all about like working class and what he thinks.
Yeah, I read that. I guess they call it a concept album, which to me it's not a concept album. It's in his mind, maybe it is. It's just I never heard of it as a concept album because it's it seems like he kind of went in and wrote wrote songs about whatever he was dealing with at the time, and I don't know, it just all happened to kind of fit the same tone.
and just from the timeline perspective, it's what, 2001, so he's 25 years old, probably trying to like figure out the workplace, like what he wants to do, and like he's like talking about he doesn't want to be one of those people on the subway. He doesn't want to be one of those people, just like carrying their briefcase, wearing a suit, going to work. And that's kind of what he's getting at.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I don't know if I want to start playing just the opening, just the, you know. I feel like I feel like I always want to hear just like the opening of the albums, just because it sets the tone for like You can hear that, right?
Who put the monkey wrench in well-oiled perfectionist template just to watch these monitors spit white noise through your office space? Automator, I infect Jolly G, pulls the Senate clown clusters, brushing dust mites off your starving our revolution sound jugglers.
Yeah, see, but I know what I was going to say before. I was like, I don't ever try to act like I know everything that he's saying, you know, like, or what he means and everything, and I don't think that anybody could possibly know what he means in every lyric. It's up for interpretation, you know. Sure. And he writes, I feel like he writes so it's so specific to him, whatever he's thinking, that some of the stuff you can figure out, or it's pretty obvious, or there's a, you know, it's a easily figured out metaphor. But most of it, it's like, you know, I like the way that sounds. I like the picture that he paints with those words. I like the fact that he said something in a way that's never been said before. You know, he uses a phrase that, you know, I'm like, that's an interesting, you know, take on that phrase, you know. But it's intimidating to listen to. Like, I still listen to this album. I'm like, I'll still catch things. I'm like, oh, I never heard that before. I never heard that's what he was saying at that point. It's just so dense, you know, and every one of his albums is that way. I don't, you know, I have not figured out one of his albums completely. I'm not, you know, it's
I think it's just so dense to the fact that, like, back when we got the album, you wouldn't be able to figure out what the lyrics were.
No.
So it's not like you could sit there and be like, oh yeah, now, like, with this, when I'm re-listening to the album from the perspective of, like, I want to kind of like look at what everything says, like, look what all the lines are. You can see that now with Apple Music, where you can actually see what the lyrics are. I'm like, wow, I really didn't know that's what that was. We talked about that. Right. I mean, like, oh, that's what he meant. But with him, like, I thought I heard the words right, but when you read it, you kind of understand it a little bit more. That's kind of what I'm trying to get at. Yeah,
I was reading along a little bit to this, and I was like, yeah, really, if you take your time with it and read along, it's like it's much more palatable.
And you have to understand that he's speaking symbolically. So like when he says a specific like phrase, you're like, okay, well, yeah, this is what he's talking about.
Yeah. I think I pulled one more piece from Labor.
I work past the service, I work on what I love, I work the service on my burdens, and I work until the tear that on flatline closes the curtains.
Yeah, that's one of the best lines.
Yeah.
That line always sticks with me. Every single time I listen to it, I just wait for that
line. I work
line.
into this here, red line.
Yeah, little flat line closes the curtains.
It's just, again, it's not like a groundbreaking thing. It's just it paints a fun picture in your mind when he says it. And then a lot of great scratching on this album. Like, not great scratching, but wasn't necessarily like, it was scratching on this album is essentially what I liked about it. Like, I miss scratching on records, and I like that this has a lot of scratching. I guess it's not super complex. Yeah, it's not super complex scratching. It's just it's fun to hear it.
Yeah, it was something I always enjoyed on, like, the DJ Abilities albums. Was that, like, he was kind of like DJing, like he just made it part of the album. Yeah.
DJ Ability, they had that on, what was that on their second album on E&A. He had that one scratch where, like, it was like, I never heard that before, where he was scratching. It was like a preemptive scratching. It was like he was kind of scratching the lyric, the part before it came. Like, usually we would scratch. I can't explain it. I don't know, but
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, it was like he was scratching the song that you were hearing. He was like scratching the beat that was playing in the song. Like, well, this was just like scratching a sample over the beat.
Correct.
Like, he was scratching the beat that you were listening to.
Yeah, he was scratching the actual song.
Right.
So he was like he was delaying the next line.
Yeah,
by
exactly.
scratching
That's fun.
the song. Yeah.
Did you have any pieces off of this song, or did I cover that line that you were looking for?
No, I mean, yeah, Labor's perfect. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just, I mean, he does such a fantastic job of making the first song on the album just like introduce you to what the album's going to be. Like, I mean, even with the latest one, he had the intro, but then
then it just
like,
jumped
going
right to
into
Gates.
the Gates. It was, I mean, he does that every single time, and it's just, it's just fantastic.
And it's dangerous because it sets the tone. You get excited because it's usually a really good song, and then you go like, you keep waiting, get disappointed. Like, I get so nervous listening to a new Aesop album first time. So I'm like, he's
like, oh, when's he gonna let me down?
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like every time I get through the whole, I'm like, oh, thank God, there's not a moment of that I feel let down on the whole album.
No. No, Daylight. I have a couple though. Daylight. There's just so many.
Yeah, I took three parts out of Daylight, but let's see if we overlap. I'm sure at some point we do.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I honestly, like you were saying, you texted me before this because you have 137, clips ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. It's difficult to not just play the whole song. Like,
really
where do I stop this? Where do I just want, you want every part. And it's also, he puts lines together so quickly. It's hard to even it was hard for me to find a spot to jump in where it wasn't just like abrupt because everything kind of flows together. So you kind of, you have to.
You're playing double Dutch every song.
Yeah, exactly.
One up a shack on me, not clean logic procreation. I did not invent the wheel, I was the crooked spoke adjacent. While the triple sixers lassos keep angels roped in the basement. I walk the block with a halo and a stick, poking your patience.
A halo on a stick.
I actually pulled up the lyrics to that. I think I closed it at this point.
Line.
Yeah. I pulled up the lyrics to this because that was one that I always loved, and I can't rap along with a lot of it because I can't do it that quickly. Like, even if I know the words, I just trip up on them.
Well, not only that, like, I always find myself, I'm like, why am you have to use his voice, or I just can't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I just got to lower it a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, exaggerate it.
Yeah.
I did not invent the wheel. It was a crooked spoke adjacent. While the triple sixers, lassos keep angels roped in the basement. I walk the block with a halo halo on a stick, poking your patience. Yeah, it's
just the visual on that. It's like, so devil worshippers are poking people with halos.
They're lassoing you, keeping you in the basement, and he's walking the block with a halo on a stick. So I don't know. I take that as like. It's like a fake halo, like it's not a real halo. Like he's,
they stole it.
Like he's like he's pretending, he's poking your patience. Yeah, I can't help but think about like real people smarter than me listening to me talk about this. I'm like, that's not what he meant, you idiot. And I was like, well, I don't know. That's what I would take it. I'm like,
I don't care what.
Yeah, I'm not the authority on what Aesop Rock meant about it. I just know that I love the sound of it and I love the way he.
Yeah. And I can tell you, it doesn't mean nothing.
Right.
That I know for a
exactly.
fact. Like, it's not like it's just a bunch of words strung together because he wants to have a big vocabulary. That's not what it is.
But I kind of got the idea, after he talked about, he did a lot of like Q&As on this last album, and people would write questions on, and
on
Instagram.
That was on Instagram, right?
Yeah. And I got the feeling that he'll take a note. He writes down notes of things that he thinks, or a phrase, or whatever, or an idea, and he writes them together. And then I think he kind of just compiles those into song, and see how they can fit most together. So, and then see, how we can make a full song out of it. So it's, I think the songs might be in parts more than they are like full songs, and it's just because I don't know. It's just that. It flows together better.
He probably just has random thoughts on a specific subject,
Right.
And I mean, it could, I guess you could, I mean, it could take place over the span of a week
Right.
or a month or whatever else. And he like has like, okay, this is my box or whatever. This
Yeah.
is my pad
Right.
for thoughts on this
Right.
subject. And then he strings all those things
Yeah.
together to make a song.
Yeah.
It could not have anything to do with that, but that's kind of what you're getting at. I think that's just what I took out of a lot of that
Yeah.
stuff too.
Yeah.
And he's very honest. He's a pretty honest dude on those Q&As too.
Yeah.
He's kind of a goofball, but he answers things pretty straightforward, which is
Yeah.
strange because everything that he does in his songs is not straightforward.
Right. And like he seems like he struggles with like things being finished and just like releasing them or like, you know, yeah. Let's see what else I got from this song.
Sports the wattage and I'm sleeping now. Yeah, the settlers laugh. You won't be laughing when your covered wagons crash. You won't be laughing when the buses drag your brother's flags to rags. You won't be laughing when your front lawn spangled with epitaphs. Won't be laughing.
Yeah, this right here.
Boots to rest when I'm impressed, so I triple knot him and forgot him. This origami.
That's like such a. That's one of those. Like it's a simple line. That's not one of those deep lines. Like I think I pulled a lot of the very simple lines on this, not the super like, because I think they speak to me more. Like I'm certain is what they mean. You know, you can't mistake that line. You know, I'll tie my, you know, I'll hang my boots to rest when I'm impressed. So I triple knot him and forgot him. Yeah, that's you know.
Yeah, he has a very specific way of taking simple thoughts like that. I would have never come up with a way to put that together and say it the way that he said it. But it is simple, but it's just a simple fact of the way that he puts that together in a line.
Yeah. And then I got something towards the end.
I got a friend of polar nature, and it's all peace. When I seek similar stars, but can't sit at the same feast. Meadow captain, this cat is asking if I've seen his bitter lost passions. Told him yeah, but only when I pedaled past him. All I ever wanted was to pick apart the day, put the pieces back together my way. All I ever wanted was to pick apart the day, put the pieces back together my way.
A little bit of the, you know, quote unquote chorus on that song. So this was Blockhead. Yeah. This is, you know, this was one of my favorite Blockhead songs on the album. If not my favorite Blockhead beat on the album. I like that little, like, I don't know what that is, that little thing in the background there. That there's like a little element that comes in towards the end.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you know, who knows? Some type of synthesizer recreation. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure all of it's on the synth. Yeah, so Save Yourself. It's probably the longest clip that I was listening to. I'm like, this whole thing is just incredible. And but it's 1 minute and 30 seconds.
All right, we think we're gonna shut down for
yeah. We're just gonna have to shut down, and we'll just play the
Where's
video.
the start at?
2:30.
2:30.
I'm like, oh man, this is like
exactly,
a good, like 20-second
That's
clip.
Exactly where I started. I think I had the same problem. Yeah, I pulled two.
It goes right.
I pulled two clips. Let me pull the first. I have a clip before that. It's a shorter clip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It goes one for the heartless, even returning my guardian angel heartless, and the rest sweep the mess under the carpet. I drag a yellow taxi meter behind every measure and charge cats for labeling me shepherd. That'll be $6.50 plus tip, darling. I take cash, credit, check, money order, gold, and cigarette carton.
Even that was hard to stop. Like I love that. I love the whole rest of that part. Yeah, maybe we'll break this one up a little bit. We'll listen to the whole thing, but I think if we break it up, we're not we're not giving people the song as much as not that I don't know. Music is free now anyway. Just go. Who doesn't have a way to stream music?
Yeah, if you don't have Apple Music, shame on you.
Or Spotify or Amazon,
Spotify or something. Come on, it's $10. There's not a better $10 you can spend. And if you get the yearly plan, it's like $7.99.
Yeah.
So what are you doing?
Honestly, and
Save yourself. Yeah. Some money.
The downside is, I don't think they get a ton of money from. Like, they do pretty good, I think. The independent artists do, but
I think if you own the distribution, you get everything.
Right, and it's pretty good. Yeah.
There was a weird. I was gonna say I saw an interview with Everlast where he explained the whole thing because I guess he owns all this stuff. And he explained I don't know where it was, but just some random thing. I must have been Googling the Black Keys and Spotify, and because they have a lot of stuff to say on it. And I just saw that interview with him, and he kind of breaks it all down on how they make money. But
yeah, that makes sense. I hear that the artists get so little, but if you own the So I mean that's just
I don't know.
It's just I the artists should be able to release their music themselves easier and easier, but I guess it's hard to get it out there without the record label. But then you just got to do this. You just got to buy, I just buy the record.
Yeah.
Along, I'll listen to it for free, but all right, you got the money. You got the money fully for me buying the record.
Yeah. One of the best album art covers.
I love it. Yeah. It said it was created by him and somebody else, I think. Like he collaborated with it on, what is that? Is that me dinging again?
I didn't hear it.
I don't know.
Is it supposed to just be? It seems like it's just people like banging into each other on a subway or on the sidewalk.
Yeah, I guess like a morning hustle.
It's supposed to be like overcrowded.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Makes sense. All right, what else we got on this? This is the 2:30, starting at 2:30.
Yeah.
Let me go back a little bit.
I don't flick needles like my sick friend. I don't march like Beetle Bailey through a quick trend. I don't frequent church or steeples on my weekend. And I don't comment if you formulate a weak zen. All I ever really wanted was a getaway. I'ma take a chance by letting a brook slide over out of my hands. I cannot agree to follow a leader along a borderline of war without a reason for the ready game score. Bring out your dead, we can put them in a pile and burn them with the novels for the kids to admire. Kill the ones that speak from a different life, but what rather kill the noise, making the sound. Okay, welcome to the kamikaze bottle rocket cockpit.
All right, so I stopped it there, but I'm gonna go back. We'll go back and pick up from there again. But yeah, I mean that fast rapping, that's he doesn't do that a lot on this album. But it's always fun to hear somebody rap fast. It's always impressive.
Yeah, I can't talk that fast. I don't know how he's
and it's
putting
pretty clear too. Very
clear.
Yeah, let me go back. Yeah, you let me know. How much of this you want to hear? Because I'll just play the whole rest of the song.
It's cockpit, live by the icy cold hand, a bad intention use blender. Oh yeah, I let God warm the bench for now, but I'll ascend to
this part right here. This is like where I just kept getting stuck. I'm like, okay, the whole thing.
Commoners speak publicly, then disperse eye jammies to cats that swear by third pupil, but can't see past the loophole. Motherfucker, my word is born like Siamese triplets with doctor, lawyer, rocket scientist promise. Let them grow leisurely. Hey, Mom, I'm a fix without my broke along this path. Once my spiel's perfected, I'ma save you a seat in the front row of Aesop Rock's 12 steps to shut the fuck up seminar. And when all these bickering crabs turn solid, you gon' be proud.
Yeah, that's
good enough. The rest of the song is just phenomenal.
Yeah, the whole thing. I mean, if you're in for that beat, see, do you think that is a question that could have been made at the very beginning of this episode, but is he palatable? Like for most people, I know how, that I love him. I know why I love him, but I wouldn't go around selling Aesop Rock to just anybody. He's definitely somebody who I'm happy to like. I'm proud that I like him. I feel he makes you feel like you know something that that other people might not know. By liking him, makes you feel like you're in a cool little clique. But not necessarily someone like, oh, you gotta love, you gotta listen to this. I would wait to get to know somebody before I say try out, maybe his earlier stuff. Later on, I think he's more just kind of it's kind of just a little bit more simple to sell him on people.
Yeah, and I have done it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, you got to check this dude out. Right. Where I know that someone that I work with or something that they're hip hop fans. I'm like, okay, so do you know who Aesop Rock is, or have you heard of him? And they're like, no. Like, okay, so I tell them what songs to check out. So I'm not gonna say, okay, yeah, go listen to this album. I'll tell them, hey, listen to this song, listen to this song, listen to this song, and it'll be ones that are more, I guess you could say, more classic.
No
beats,
regret. Well, okay, the beat. So you focus more on the beat.
Yeah, something more classic to that extent. So, off the new album, I would just say, okay, just go listen to Coveralls, because it's the most classic, beat. It's just, I guess what you would say is closest to that 90s, hip hop type of beat. But that's what I would kind of introduce them to them first, and then kind of let them get into the rest of it on their own. Yeah, I heard somebody just posted in that Aesop Rock group. He's like, I can't really get down with early Aesop Rock, and I guess he's probably he's somebody who's new to him. Maybe even since None Shall Pass. Maybe it was probably that kind of was the departure of, that was the bridge. None Shall Pass from this stuff, and it started to sound more like his new stuff. That kind of bridged the gap to me between
old Aesop and new Aesop. So so even somebody who likes new Aesop Rock has trouble getting into old Aesop Rock, which to me is funny. But
yeah, but I think it was the same. Obviously, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but it was kind of the same for us. We didn't really like
early,
like heard the new stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I went back and
But even this album, I mean, I would have a hard time if you like current Aesop Rock or you like Impossible Kid. I don't know how you couldn't like this album. I mean, it's kind of classic to a degree with the beats. It's not too.
I don't know. I wouldn't call it classic with the beats. I think the beats are pretty avant-garde. You know, like.
Yeah, I'm saying more classic.
Aesop Rock.
To him.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just like, but he definitely
what you would.
He turned up the bass and the kick and the snare. Like he definitely turned up all that stuff. I remember when we saw him at Knitting Factory, open up for Atmosphere. He was talking. He goes, "I'll make." He goes, "He's like, I'm working on some new stuff." He goes, like, "You guys into some monster music?" And like he was talking about whatever beats he was into, and he played one song. I don't remember what song it was, but it was not. This was after Labor Days came out, so it was. What came after that? I mean,
it was Bazooka Tooth.
Yeah, there was like Bazooka Tooth. There was Fast Cars, Dangers, Fire Knives, like.
Yeah, and then he had like a. Didn't he have a? I swear I heard something. It was like an instrumental album too.
Well, he did that Nike instrumental album.
That's what it was, Nike.
But that wasn't like monster. Like he rapped over this, and I remember thinking like, "Oh wow, I want more of this." And he just got. So now, ever since like he said that, when I think about his, I'm like, this is monster music. Like his new stuff, I think of as like, because it's just really, yeah, it's awesome. Chris Farley, yeah, it's awesome.
It's awesome.
All right, we got Flash Flow, which I love. I mean, to say like, oh, one of my favorite songs. Every one of these songs, like, there's probably One Brick might be my least favorite song, but I like it. It just might be my least favorite song on the album. But other than that, I would, it's hard for me to say.
Escape briefly back to my apartment. I park in front of the van and reminisce about the day I ran a mile with your heart in my hand. Testants get the New York home game with real life shoot 'em up action. Thug vagrant, yuppie, and our free game piece all included. I told this cat the earth was flat. He walked till his beard grew long enough to strangle himself for being stupid.
Yeah, that's that. I guess I was 21 when this came out. It's a fun line for a 20-year-old. Like it's a fun image to think of.
I always think of the Forrest Gump running.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I wanted the part of the like the chord, like him spelling out Flash Flow, which I have so much fun.
Nobody's done that. Like, I don't think anybody does that.
Yeah, like a cheer almost.
He's just spelling out the title of the song.
And I get so much enjoyment out of singing along to this. Because I don't know why, but I just. And this part, I love this guy. Like.
This is from something, and I know what it is.
I don't know.
I can't remember.
I wish I did.
Yeah. I don't know if it's like the Twilight Zone or something. I know I've seen it.
Is it possible, conceivable, that I sleepwalked out of my apartment and went berserk?
I'm pretty sure it's
got to be.
Zone.
That sounds.
I know I've seen it.
It sounds very Twilight Zone-y. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Then I don't know. Is this the most popular song on this album? I mean, I know that like if he ever does an old song live now, it's this song, which he rarely does.
I haven't seen him.
Yeah, like I saw him
forever,
like tour the last couple albums, and he likes to just do the new songs, which I love.
Yeah, that's great.
But if he ever does throw an old song, it will be a lot of times it'll be this.
Was 7 and wore a head of blue barrettes. City born into this world with no knowledge and no regrets. Had a piece of yellow chalk with which she drew up on the street the many faces of the various locals that she would meet. There was Joshua, age 10, bully up the block who always took her milk money at the morning bus stop.
Yeah, this might have been the first song that I like. Like, it might be the most palatable song, and I think this might have been the first song that really like sold me on it because I got it. It was easy to get. It made me think like, okay, he's not just a guy saying weird stuff. He can rap. He can tell a story, and I think that was like it eased me into everything else. I think.
Yeah, it's like I'm a moron. You need to like put it right in front of my face, and this is put right in front of my face. And he just the way he paints the picture is like, and the fact that he can rhyme on top of painting the picture, and it makes sense. There's no shoehorn.
No,
everything makes sense.
It sounds like you're just telling a story and it happens to rhyme, which is like the best, you know, the best storyteller rappers. That's how it sounds. I'm like,
And I wonder if this is one of the, because I know he used to be a poet, right? Didn't he used to write poetry?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like, well, I know, like Sage Francis was, really the poet. I mean,
maybe I'm thinking
of him. If you ask me, like, these songs are, they're poems. So, the loose definition of a poem is, like, if you put all these in, just in, word form, they're
spoken word.
Yeah,
but I just picture him writing this down. Like, I just picture him like sitting like in his apartment across the street, like watching this happen. Yeah. And just him like making, like writing out what's happening. Yeah. And then obviously he's not doing it because it spans of 80 years, but.
Right. I think about that. Like, I would give so much money for like an original copy of like one of his notebook pages of like this song. Oh. Because he posted pictures of them. Like he has like a handwritten, and it's like all like notes all over it. Like I would frame that. That would be, I don't like collecting things. I don't like spending a lot of money on stuff, but he's the one guy I'm so in the pocket for. Like I like to spend money. Like I would
even take a photocopy, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I would. I would take that, yes, but I would pay a lot more money for an original. I would be like, that would be definitely a prized possession of mine if I had that.
Almost feel bad taking it from him.
Yeah, I don't think he can. Well, he has pictures of it. I don't know if he actually still has it.
Yeah.
But, and towards the end, I got spoiler alert. By the way, if you've never heard this song, this is the spoiler alert. I feel like bad like ruining the story for anybody. Nobody's listening to this or cares about it. But here's the end of the story.
Pulled the nurse aside and she said, look, I've never had a dream in my life because a dream is what you want to do but still haven't pursued. I knew what I wanted and did it till it was done, so I've been the dream that I wanted to be since day one. Well, the nurse jumped back. She never heard Lucy even talk, especially words like that. She walked over to the door and pulled it closed behind. And Lucy blew a kiss to each one of her pictures and she died. 1, 2, 3, that's the speed of the C. ABC, that's the speed of the D. You can dream a little dream or you can live a little dream and try to live it. Because dreamers always chase but never get it.
Yeah, and then the chorus just hits you. Yeah. You're like, God damn it. And what could you just think like, man, what could I have done had I listened to Aesop Rock?
Well, I had, I just ignored it,
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And he has a perfect, I would assume that he writes the words before making the beat or maybe like together because he either made this beat perfectly with like the woman voice like this, the woman in the background just like, I don't even know what she's doing, just singing or something.
That was a Blockhead beat. No Regrets is a Blockhead beat.
Okay.
But so he says now like they're working on something together right now because he keeps posting on Instagram like his stories like Blockhead sending him beats and he has like I don't know if you saw like he has videos of, like he's got there's music coming out with him and Blockhead in some form or another because he posted a video of him rapping over our beat and he tagged Blockhead in it so
yeah, he had like a strange 5-year gap and then since then just every 6 months it's something new between Malibu Ken and
Have you gotten into the Hail Mary Mallon stuff? Have you listened to that much? No?
No, I haven't listened to that at all.
Really? Is there a reason why?
None. I didn't know it existed.
Hail Mary Mallon? Yeah, it wasn't as well publicized, but you have 2 extraordinary albums in front of you to listen to. I saw them perform. I think it was the second album together, and it's so good. I'm literally so excited for you to listen to him and Rob Sonic. It's Rob Sonic. I think they're such a good collab. He raps just like him as far as like the way he writes. I don't like his voice as much, and what I don't like him as much, but he's a great companion to Aesop Rock. But
Okay.
yeah, listen to I don't have them on my wall. I have both the albums, but I don't have them on my wall.
Yeah, I didn't even know that existed.
Oh my God!
It's just like that it's just like the cat food song. I'm like, one day it just comes on, and I'm like, where the hell has this been?
Yeah.
That's like one of my favorite songs. From him
tomorrow, your assignment for tomorrow is listen to Hail Mary Mallon 1 and 2.
Yeah, I mean,
There's the second one is better than the first one, but they're both great. I almost want to not. I want to do a listening party where
we can do that.
Hold on a second. I'm gonna see if where's this gonna play out of. Computer. Hold with me. I'm going to play, I don't know if this is going to come through. Krill. Krill is, hold on.
Labor Days might need to be a two-parter. I kind of knew this was going to happen too.
Yeah. Well, how long are we right now?
We're at song 5 and 48 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, can you hear this?
It's almost like EDM type beats.
Yeah.
Kind of like
Aesop
this.
Rock produced it. It's just, yeah, he produced both of the albums.
When did this come out?
The first one came out in 2011. Bestiary. The second one came out in 2014.
Jesus. Wow.
This is so good.
There's a lot of stuff that I missed in that time frame. I don't know why, but
Yeah, you were getting a family together.
just too.
You were putting a
No,
family
not really. It
together.
was just so much work.
Yeah.
I throw dice and darts, you dot your eyes with hearts. I hold a fork and knife under the guise of art and shoot a fat and pig. English tapped and transmitted. Motherfuckers flock like chads to a whippet.
Motherfuckers look like Chads to a whippet. They have this song called Whales, where they just rap about the dumbest thing you can do with money. Like they just like list all the stuff they're doing with their money, and it's like,
Yeah.
Money on my motherfucking mind. Cut 5 haircuts at the same time. White gold pants, jet ski, made a wine. Foie gras bust of Albert Einstein.
foie gras bust of Albert Einstein, he says. Yeah, no, you got, that's,
I'm
you have
excited.
2 albums of that. You have 2 brand new Aesop Rock albums waiting for you, just
I know.
to go.
I do.
Yeah.
I'm like a kid on Christmas.
I feel partly responsible because that's my job as the person without a family and kids to keep you informed of that. I'm sorry I didn't let you know while you were raising your children.
I mean, this is a decade ago, though. I mean, I should have been.
Yeah.
Shame
Well,
on me.
yeah, but if you don't find it then, like then they don't spend a lot of time promoting their old albums, you know.
No.
Yeah, sorry. Where were we back to?
I mean, we could skip one brick.
Yeah, well, I did.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
Officially scrape
Yeah,
barrel
that's-
bottom. Aesop Rock and apple to the core, but y'all ignore them.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Like I said, I like it. It's just, I don't know. There's a feature on it from Illogic that I don't need. I don't know. I just never need a feature on an Aesop Rock album. Just
No. It's funny you say that because Bent Life is probably one of my favorite songs
Yeah.
on the album. That's got
Yeah.
Sea Ray's Walls on it, and he's pretty
Yeah.
good on it. I mean, he's pretty good.
No,
to begin
yeah,
with,
I
but
don't.
That's probably one of the best features besides Slug
Right.
on any of his
Yeah.
albums. I would say.
Yeah, probably. And I think his last few albums, there's been no features. I mean, Rob Sonic pops up
Nothing.
here and there, and then he did the 2 albums, was him and Rob Sonic, which is a just constant feature. But
Yeah.
this is Tugboat Complex.
Road, find you in late tracks adjacent, just to scream fuck off as the engine pulls out the station. What should we do with 1,000 drunken sailors? Kill them all, locate their family address, release a mailer. Dear sir or madam, your son or daughter's embarrassed humankind, consuming booze and gut fuel till their crews had crossed the line.
That's so great.
I like like you say, you like a good boast. It's not like a big boast, but the beginning of the song, like I think it's one of the first spoken word parts of the song. Right, that dang, so I could sleep. I could walk with a limp and make your step complete. Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, he doesn't boast a lot, actually. And then I pulled, he doesn't diss a lot either. And there's one of these songs I pulled out like a diss line that and not towards anybody in particular, but just.
I got auction off a fuck for that blind corpse riding. I'd rather find the flaws and watch you hide them. Feel the haggard look, penetrate brain castle, blast it clear out the back of this batch's sour wind collect. Slash flutter. You're a fucking wind-up toy, a goddamn fourth-string criminal trading card. The reason they decorate the font of closing credits to boost on look of amusements after fading hard. To catch more Z's than Rip Van Winkle's 12-step narcolepsy seminar.
That's a great. I feel like I'm picking up the speed now towards the end, which is a shame because this last part of the album is my favorite part of the album. The last section of songs. Battery. This is very chill.
Everything leads to erosion. Now where I live, there's a homeless man. He sits upon a crate, makes a rusty trumpet sound like the music that angels make. Now if you ever come visit me, I suggest you watch the show. Tell him Aesop Rock sent you just to hear his horn blow like this.
I don't know if he did it on purpose, but it's always bothered me that he spoke about a trumpet and then played a saxophone after. But that was on there.
It never bothered me because I never really picked up on it. I just feel like, it's a horn, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. I just always loved it.
But I think right before that is one of my favorite lines of all time, and he's like kind of talking about the streets of New York.
Let me go back a little bit.
He painted a sunny day on my eyelids.
Yeah. Do you have a time on that? Like
maybe 1:37.
Wish, but Mr. Smith, I slept through my appointment. Sorta liquid dreams of 1,000 babies solidify and picked the rose and wilted the second I introduced myself as nervous. Well, it appears the scars of learning have spoken. Some are burning, some are frozen. Some deserve tall tales, some wrote them. Some are just the brutal repercussions of devotion. Mine are all of the above, cause everything leads to erosion.
No, that was what I just
that wasn't the
no. Yeah, I painted a sunny
but that's
day
where
on the insides of my eyelids. Yeah.
I think it's probably before that.
Bags of marbles. Don't tell me you ain't the droid that held the max of the charcoals. Don't tell me Luciferic gods on carpool. This is our school. I'm not trying to graduate to life with a personalized bar stool, head in a jar.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, I know a lot. It's
one
of his more famous lines. I think. Like, I mean, I feel like I've seen like almost like tattoos with that. You know. I've been dying to get an Aesop Rock tattoo. I just can't think of what that would be. I don't know how to. I want it to be.
What's that stupid commercial? No regrets.
No regrets. Yeah, I should get that and then call it an Aesop Rock.
That's funny.
I wanted to get a picture that kind of. I wanted to get a picture that kind of symbolizes a lyric. And I love the lyric on his new album where he says, 1, 2, undo a define act. They don't like it when I waltz in and turn and wind back. I wanted to get somebody like dancing with like a glass of wine, but it's like wine's coming out and it's turning into water. But that's,
that's a pretty big picture.
Yeah, it would be big, detailed, and also like, what is it even? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Dude, why is someone dropping a glass of wine on your back?
Yeah, it's the whole thing. It's a divine act, and I turned back, and don't worry about it. Boombox. Love
I love
this song so
I'll
much.
be the cat with guilty look on face and shirt that reads, I didn't do it. God, is it on? Is it beyond basic? Does it ice grill you or is every song faceless? Does it have a title? If it didn't, would you name it? Does it babble about nothing like a drunk atheist? We could run that Orwell's 84 war, but everyone on one detour till each client fidgets with his or her own works.
This won't be one of the songs you introduce people to Aesop Rock with.
It definitely won't be. It's
no.
yeah.
Yeah, this is the one.
And I really like it because of the the stupidest reason when he's just like this part. Like,
boom.
yeah, this is what I like it for really so much. Yeah, Bent Life, C. Ray's Walls feature. I don't think I took any of C. Ray's
The first
part of it.
I was gonna say the first, like right at the beginning of the song, I used to every single time I went down the stairs, I used to just quote this line. I would say it in my head every single time.
Yeah, yeah.
Every single time I went down the stairs, this was coming out of my mouth, and there was just people like, "Why is this dude like yelling?"
Take 10 steps with a bent left vision. Study the disorders we've absorbed.
Always.
Yeah. There's those certain lyrics that just stick with you and just can't get them out of your head.
Just like put your quarter up, brother. I mean, I hear that and I'm like, oh, I got to listen to every Aesop Rock song made after that.
It's fun to say, you know. You always, like you said, the way he's always try to say it, like he would say it.
Just his voice.
Put your quarter up,
and you have to do it in his. I can't get that low anymore.
Thieves, bandits, low-life scum, punks that buckle under the rumble of my drum. Steadily searching for something new under the sun, but it's stagnant. Act development, burst of madness.
That, and then I picked up something, but later on.
Yeah, I soak in a blue note factory where most cats hassle bandits lamping solo. And when the last red brick topples over the earth to intercept your crooked little mess, I could be found in a social coma directly to your left.
I could be found in the social coma directly to your left. Yeah. It's great.
It's It's
and
awesome.
Then, yeah, it's awesome.
This for the thinkers, this for the urchins allergic to their own stingers, this for the absurd verdict linkers, this for that
That I love right there. I forgot about that line.
But can't remember where his drink is. I'm wallowing.
As somebody who
this was in my
as somebody who never drank, like I always appreciate that line because it always painted people like annoying who drank, and I was always like, you got these pathetic drinkers. So I feel like I was like, I can relate to that too. Yeah.
You picked that up at the perfect time. That was like right as I started. The urchins allergic to their own stingers.
Yeah.
Right after that. That's just, I mean, that's awesome. It's awesome. I can't stop thinking about that.
Yeah, I got to start the strength at the beginning of this one.
Jiggy jabber, vitamin idle and primal ranges when Bible page verse tidal wave.
That's not one of those ones for
one.
no reason. Just jiggy jabber jaw. Just for no reason ever.
Oh,
yeah.
Dude, I'm not even kidding. I'll be on the golf course and I'll just bust that out just for no reason. I'll be standing on the tee, jiggy jabber jaw.
Yeah.
And then it turns into one of the best beats on the album. Big Peppers, Ron Rock Moms, Ace Rock, Smoke Too Many Dimes.
Where you gonna be when the sun falls, brother? Probably gathering your sheep with all these other motherfuckers.
That's cool. That's one of my favorite parts of the whole album is that right there. It's just very, I don't know, aggressive, out of character, almost aggressive.
Very out of character. Yeah, he's like mad about something.
Yeah.
We went through the last half of this album.
Yeah,
quick.
well, I was like, I don't want to avoid two-parters if I can. I feel like when we started, it's like 40 minutes tops an album, and it's very obvious that they're going to be an hour each. I mean, if between 40 and an hour.
If we can avoid it at all costs, because I know once we get to like Impossible Kid, I don't know how I could possibly go through that in an hour. That's just not going to happen.
Up, a couple times maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you could dissect every single one of these songs and just find something.
The thing is also we can we can record it. Like if we have time, like maybe we'll start earlier that day and like we can just do the whole thing and release it and chop it up in parts. Like so. Yeah. We don't have to stop and start again.
That makes sense. No. Yeah, I'm not saying for us, but yeah, we would.
Yeah, wouldn't put anybody through that.
No.
I guess this is one of the...
They're never going to see this. I mean,
yeah.
There's no way anyone's made it 50 minutes into this.
This is for very specific people. 9 to 5 is one. I guess it's probably one of the more notable songs on the album. I feel like it says the singles were Coma and Boombox, which I can't imagine. I mean, first of all, what's a single?
No,
like, what is even a single? I mean,
I thought Daylight was. I thought
Daylight,
that was one of the most popular
yeah, because
songs.
it did Daylight,
that's why
Night.
he came out with an
Yeah,
EP.
it was Nightlight, and which is great. Do you prefer Nightlight or Daylight? If you like listen back and forth, it's tough for me to even say, but
I'd have to say Daylight just because, I mean,
yeah, the
probably because I heard it first.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I throw long Hail Mary bombs toward cookie cutter Mother Nature's bedazzled synthetic fabric. Life treats the peasants like they tried to fuck his woman while he slept inside. While they're merely chasing perfectionist emblems. When the clock strikes 9, I'll be waking with the best of the routine cat being team players, but a cycle of it under a dusted ain't.
Yeah, so good. I didn't even pick out one of my favorite lines. I guess maybe it was too on the nose. Life's not a bitch. Life is a beautiful woman. You want to call her a bitch because she won't get you that won't let you get that pussy. Yeah, it's almost like too on the nose. You know, like I loved it so much when it came out, but it was like it's almost embarrassing how much I liked because it's really.
Well, it's because it's true.
It is true, but it's like it's it's not one of his more clever lines. It's just again, it was a good entryway into.
Now, what was it? Was that on Labor?
Yeah, I think
was that on the first
one of the first songs. Yeah.
Away. Now we, the American working population, hate the fact that 8 hours a day is wasted on chasing the dream of someone that isn't us. We may not hate our jobs. We hate jobs in general that don't have to do with fighting our own causes. We, the American working population, hate the 9 to 5 day in day out. But we'd rather be supporting ourselves by being paid to perfect the pastimes that we have harbored based solely on the fact that it makes us smile if it sounds dope.
Great. Love it. And then this part, I never knew that this was a Dolly Parton song that he did.
Yeah.
Like why would I know what a Dolly Parton song is? I mean, it was years later where I realized he was like singing a Dolly Parton song. And then Shovel, hard to say favorite, but this is definitely a contender for favorite song on the album. Yeah. Should I just play some? All right, let's just play some.
I don't shrug, I study the ramifications of my shovel, loving the consequence of uprooting the jungle. I'm hugging the cycle of Gemini, stupid contenders, I'm muting the puzzle. I don't budge the motives, encased inside the gauntlet's hunger quotas. I don't shrug, I study the ramifications.
It's a little bit of it's hard to call it a chorus. It's hard to call any one of his chorus. It's like it's a part that repeats. He doesn't have many choruses, but he has parts that repeat.
Not really.
Yeah. And then I
that burns, and when the children met divinity, I sat to watch the merge. Pandemonium live, y'all motherfuckers stand up. Volunteer tantrums while your plans sung vivid. Play a sympathy card, son of misery, clasped in a basket cases in a classless matrix with elastic figures. Dragging a bag of lonely poem remnant, short of breath like you're short of fresh. You're a portable mess.
I can't believe no one's cut that up yet. Where like the pandemonium line. Like like a DJ at a show. Like, how's nobody cut that up? Maybe they have.
Yeah.
I haven't been at every show, but
like as a sample, like for another song.
Like that's a perfect sample.
Pandemonium. Like it could almost be just like
everybody stand up.
Yeah, that would be fun. Like even a concert or something like that. Like it should be like like if you were like a football game or something. It should be like
Yeah. I'll send a note to the Giants.
That burns, and when the children met divinity, I sat to watch the merge. Pandemonium live, y'all motherfuckers stand up.
Maybe that's why.
That's probably why.
It's like, what did they just say to me at Giant Stadium?
Bobby, cover your ears.
Yes, I've listened to this album I don't know, probably about 6 times in the last few days, and that was difficult to do because a new Kings of Leon album just came out, and it was like I had to force myself away from that album to listen to this, but I was always happy when I did.
You know what I caught myself listening to, because we talked about it last time, was that goddamn Gangstar album. And then I listened to it and I'm like, wait, that's this is the album that we were talking about? Because it might have possibly the greatest introductory song on any hip hop album ever.
Is that the Moment of Truth? It opens with Moment of Truth?
No.
Because I'm thinking of, because you remember that bike game, the Mira Dave, what was his name?
Yeah.
That
Mira, yeah.
that had one of the Moment of Truth songs on it, and game always opened with Moment of Truth, the song. So I don't know if I'm conflating the.
Yes, it was. Yeah. It was Moment of Truth.
It opens with Moment of Truth.
I don't
Moment
think.
of Truth.
No. You know my steez.
You know my okay. You know, yeah.
That's and then I just caught myself listening to that, and I'm like, now I'm just listening to the Gangstar every chance I get.
Should we do that next then, since you're already listening to it?
No, we can't do that.
Okay.
I don't know. What can we? I mean, now that Labor Days is over, we've made it through.
Yeah.
Everybody's now smarter.
Well, yeah, questionable, but
not me, but everyone else.
I want to get like a professional, like somebody really knows. I was surprised, like he posted something on Instagram, said like he doesn't read much, and I'm like, I always feel like the way he writes,
that's not possible.
I don't know.
He's the prototypical guy who reads a lot and highlights the words that he doesn't know, and then learns them and uses them in his songs. I wouldn't believe that for a second.
He's Gary Goldman of rap music. So Gary Goldman, he kind of
does that. What he does.
He's just he reads a lot, and he always takes his his well-readness into his stand-up act, the way he writes. Yeah, Labor Days. That's great. Also, by the way, I don't know if you've heard the new Kings of Leon album while I'm talking to you.
I heard. Yeah, I've heard a few songs.
It's always funny to me because it's almost like I don't know. So like it's like almost like adult contemporary music. They've really softened over the years, but like I've grown with them, which is nice. Like as they grow up, I grow up alongside them. So I'm always happy.
Well, we saw them right before they exploded.
Yeah.
Like literally, like the last show before they did Giant Stadium next.
Yeah,
like
it was a tiny club. Remember the name of that club?
It was in Philly. Yeah. I don't remember. Philly had so many small weird clubs, but it was probably in South Philly somewhere.
Yeah.
And I forget who we went with. We went with two of your friends,
they met us there. Yeah.
Yeah, from
New York,
that lived in Philly.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Right. That was fun.
But that was it. That was That was they played.
The next tour was next tour. I saw him at Madison Square. Oh no, not next tour. I saw him at Nassau Coliseum. So they definitely, definitely bumped up. It was the funniest thing though, because I remember I was never able to make this into a joke, but I remember everybody was like really dancing around. It was a very dancey album. I think it was, because of the times, which certainly was even more popular. Obviously, they grew, over every album. They grew a little bit. But I was standing behind some girl. She was really dancing and having fun, and her glasses fell, and they were on the ground. And I found it so funny how quickly the fun stopped. And she was like, "Okay, but now it's serious." Like she stopped having fun because like I need to find my glasses, and if I don't have my glasses, the rest of my night is ruined. So it always reminded me how funny that was, and I always want to kind of just talk about that moment, like when you're having fun and like something serious happens, and all fun must stop until I get my problem taken care of.
That is so funny because the one time that I ever lost my contacts out in public, I was at school at Temple, and I was in a scuba diving class, and you had to go to the bottom of the 16-foot pool and pick up a brick and bring it back up to the top. So I go down to the bottom of the pool, and I can't open my eyes because you couldn't do it with goggles on. So I'm like, I'm just going to sneak a peek and grab this brick. So I snuck a peek. I wasn't anywhere near it. So I'm like trying to swim to find it, and I find it, and then I just go back up, but my eyes are open. Contacts fly out of my eyeballs, and I have my car at campus, and I'm legally blind without my contacts in. So now I'm like, this is like a 850 million gallon pool. Yeah. My contacts are gone. Yeah. There's no finding these things. So I had to take the bus home, find my glasses, take the bus back to school. I had to find the bus.
The apartment to find your glasses.
Yeah. I had to find the bus first. I'm like, I got no clue where the bus stop is. Find the bus stop, get on the bus, take it home, walk to my apartment. You find my glasses, get back on the bus, go back all the way up just so I can get my key, get my car.
Did you
shit
learn
got real
then
quick.
to take your glasses with you just in case when in the future?
No, I always take an extra pair of
Just an
contacts.
extra pair
Though.
of contacts. Okay.
I got a backup pair.
All right.
But yeah, but that's so funny that you said that. Like when just all the
Yeah,
fun
no,
stops.
there's no fun.
It's just
When I can't see, if I can't
the
see,
fun's over.
there's no more fun. Yeah. Yeah, she was just like, especially people dancing around. She's just envisioning like, oh, I found them.
Yeah, they're smash.
Oh, that's not
Like as soon as she goes to grab them.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about Kings of Leon, but yeah, that's because it just came out, new album.
It's almost they did that like one pop, like run kind of pop album, and then they've done less pop music ever since then. Like it's gotten less and further and further away.
The new one is pretty poppy. I mean, but I don't know. I like it's good. Like I don't mind pop rock music. It's good. Like they're talented musicians. The sound of his voice still sounds great. Like I'm game for a pop rock album. If it's good, it's good. Like I don't, it doesn't need to be groundbreaking. If it's, yeah. But
I think my favorite album from them was the one right after that. Was the every single album I remember is just from the bass line. So like that's the one that just started with the bass line.
Which is so funny because I was actually listening to this new album. I'm like, man, this bass, like this bassist, I don't know, the bass for that group, they just always sticks out to me. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember what the hell it was. Come Around Sundown, maybe.
Maybe,
this is the end. Yeah. This is that right? Is the end or something like that? This is the end. Is that the first song?
I get all their albums confused. Yeah.
Whatever. But that's like all I remember.
Yeah.
But that's probably my favorite album from them. It's definitely a departure from Come Around Sundown. No, that's the name of the album.
Times?
From whatever the one was because of the time. Yeah.
Well, you've been listening to Kings of Leon talk. I mean, this is the tail end of.
Now,
here's the thing:
Radio.
like when we talk about rock albums, eventually, like, do I have to change this layout of this thing? Because right now it's all like rap logos in there. Or do we just throw a.
No, we just do it ironically.
Okay. Perfect. Less work for me. All right. Well, thanks for listening to all of this. I mean, you can say that.
Labor Days by Aesop Rock with a hint of Kings of Leon thrown in.
You can say thanks for listening to the whole thing, because if somebody has listened to it, they're hearing this, and if they haven't, then they're not having, so you're literally, you're...
The check's in the mail if you've listened to this whole thing.
Yeah. All right, so what do we want to do next? Do we say?
I don't think we did.
We didn't? All right, we can talk about it throughout the week. We don't have to.
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
Now. Nobody's pre-listening to the thing. Like, what are they talking
this
about?
Time. Ooh, what album next? I feel like it has to be a J. Rue the Damage album because we've talked about him so much, like every podcast besides this one.
Now we just did. So it's.
Yeah, now we did.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Like, did we do Sunrises in the East, or did we do?
We heard Wrath and Math because I like doing the ones. They don't need to be chronological week to week, but for the artist, I like talking about the artist of how we discovered them first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yeah,
because there's more to say.
And that one, and I apologize ahead of time for the inappropriate language that's going to be heard.
We'll try to cut around it, but
there might be some uncomfortableness in there.
We'll just sit here quietly, all white, and just be like, "Well, this is it's his right."
A little too pasty for this song. But yeah, Wrath of the Math, that'll be a good one.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Let's commit to it right now. Then that's great. All right.
Yeah. Done.
What if I found out I wasn't recording this whole thing? But I am. Okay. All right. Well, we'll talk to you soon.
Beef with Blue Cheese. Episode 5.
Lucy Ford. No, not
Lucy. Lucy Ford. All right. Well, Labor Days.
All right.
You a tough ass geezer. Give you props for that.